was instantly frozen in disbelief. This, "What's going on? Why isn't Zio Yan in the bedroom? Did something come up that made you leave? But I got up at 6 in the morning to clean. I didn't see him go out or anything." Two police officers. Zio Yan, he doesn't. What if something really happened? At this moment, Su Ming and Zhu Chengsheng had no time to respond to the nanny. No longer seen. The moment of Huang Yan. Zhu Chengsheng immediately took out his phone. Dialed the phone number for the Huai Criminal Investigation Technology Department. Request all available officers. Immediately retrieve the surroundings of this villa. The surveillance cameras at every intersection. This is to determine whether Huang Yan returned last night, and try to determine the current direction. At the same time, experience Zhu Chengsheng. The staff began screening the guests who checked into the hotel yesterday, and the list of people who were using the internet at the internet cafe, although minors, without the accompaniment of a guardian. No entry to hotels and internet cafes. But it's inevitable that some merchants won't play by the rules. When Zhu Chengsheng issued the order for a full search, Su Ming noticed the pink desk by the window, throwing several balls of crumpled waste paper, walked to the desk. Su Ming then discovered a piece of white paper pressed under the pen holder. Pick it up. There are still obvious dried tear marks on the paper. On the paper, there is only a very brief statement. "I can only see you 3 times a year, even if your money piles up like a mountain. What does it mean to me? I don't want to be your child in the next life anymore." Seeing this passage on the note, Su Ming slightly squinted her eyes. Immediately guessed it. This is the letter left by Huang Yan for his parents. It cannot be described with the term will. It feels more like the voice of extreme disappointment. The dried tears above. This further illustrates Huang Yan's inner pain. Put this piece of paper aside for now. Su Ming picked up the crumpled pieces of paper. I found it compared to the one left on the table. The content on these papers feels more like a suicide note. Inside, express Huang Yan's regrets and pain, the vision of wanting to become Lan Jin, and a matter that has been brought up repeatedly. Even during that time of the car accident, Huang Yan's parents have only visited the hospital once. The rest of the time was spent with the nanny taking care of him. Even when being discharged from the hospital, no one has come to the hospital to take a look again. Both of them are busy with so-called work. Then, on one of the crumpled pieces of paper, Su Ming keenly noticed a special phrase. "I wish I could go back 10 years. At that time, although the family had no money, yet you are here by my side. That was my happiest time. If possible, please let me die in this moment, instead of dragging a lame leg like now. Everyone on the road is pointing and whispering about me. HMPH. It's time to go. This event is not worth reminiscing about. I see this passage." Su Ming slightly squinted her eyes. Begin to analyze carefully. At this moment, during this time period, Huang Yan must have also been brainwashed by Lan Jinyi for a time. But among the abandoned letters left behind, there isn't much content about Lan Jin. Undoubtedly indicates. If compared with Zhang Wan, Huang Yan was not deeply controlled for a time. This is likely because, compared to when Grandma just passed away, Zhang Wan abandoned by her parents. The tragedy that Huang Yan encountered is not that many. It's not particularly fatal. An accident that caused a limp. It has actually been almost a year, even with all the unwillingness and pain. Emotions should also be processed. Almost there. Add more. I have a cheerful personality. Therefore, the control was not deep at the moment. The reason for choosing to commit suicide, one important reason is that revenge on parents, wants to use their own life to verify what is truly in the hearts of their parents. It is important to be yourself. Making money is still more important. Under this premise, Su Ming can accurately assess. The letters on the desk, it was definitely written by Huang Yan before the falling incident. It definitely won't be written after falling from the building. Because, analyzing from the perspective of a normal person, if Huang Yan had seen it with his own eyes, my friend Zhang Wan fell from a building, and also she cut her own carotid artery. Then, in a short time, the content of the written will is definitely not like this. The deceased Zhang Wan, it will definitely be in those farewell letters, occupies an extremely important position. So, Yuanyan roughly fell after the building collapse incident. There was no going home at all, but went to another place to prepare for suicide at any time. But is there a way to go home now? It's no longer the main point. The most critical thing is, where is Huangyan most likely to be right now? Thinking of this, Su Ming opened the numerous crumpled letters. After watching it again, squinting slightly, imagine yourself as Huang Yan. Murmured softly to oneself, I am Huang Yan. Translation error. I hope to become a blue gold in the next life. Freely swimming in the boundless ocean. Midnight. I secretly took a shortcut, returned to the familiar Shud Middle School, and my best friend Zhang Wan. You've been waiting for me here for a long time. Just like when we were in school, we walk side by side, talking about recent events and gossip. But I can clearly feel that Xiao Wen's spirits were not high. Things that have happened to her during this time. It's really a bit too heavy. However, she will soon be free. We arrived at the abandoned place, the rooftop of the teaching building, set the table with various drinks and snacks. It's quiet enough here, and won't be disturbed by anyone. In this final moment, Xiao Wan was unusually cheerful. It seems like all the gloom has been cleared away. We talked about the current situation, talked about idols, talking about the secret crushes of youth. We also talked about a future that will never arrive. I always thought, we can keep chatting like this forever. Talking until dawn, talked for a very long time. But the heavy thud of Xiao Wan hitting the ground pulled me back to reality. At this moment, Zhu Chengsheng, after finishing the call, Su Ming was momentarily aware of talking to himself. It was originally a bit strange, but after listening for a while, suddenly a look of horror appeared on her face. Involuntarily, he gasped, because, as an experienced detective, Zhu Chengsheng has already noticed. Su Ming is putting himself in the shoes of the suspect, conducting a criminal psychology assessment, trying to reconstruct everything that happened last night. In this way, find the places where lies may currently be hiding. Psychological testing isn't as simple as it seems. Just putting oneself in the position of a suspect. It's something that the vast majority of detectives cannot accomplish, because the long experience of capturing criminals made detectives' thinking became fixed. It's absolutely impossible. It is impossible to consider the problem from the suspect's perspective. But for Su Ming, who has 100,000 criminal experiences, think from the perspective of a criminal. It is undoubtedly the simplest thing. While Zhu Chengsheng was in awe, Su Ming's quiet murmurs. It has slowly started to resonate again. It left first. I will never have such a good friend again. But I can't cry or feel sad. I still need to take care of the aftermath. I want to be strong. Pick up the broom. I first swept away the footprints. I can't let the police find me too quickly using these footprints, because I still have things to do. Arrived at the first floor, I saw Zio Wan. She looks like she is in a lot of pain. Her gaze seemed to be asking me to take her for a ride. I picked up the prepared fruit knife. Leaving Shude Middle School, I feel an indescribable discomfort in my heart. In my life, the most important friend has gone. So where should I go now? Is this how my life ends, going home like this? Not right. Even if I have to leave, I'd also want to die in that time when I was the happiest. So, where is my happiest time? Since I value this time so much, so I will definitely gather all the related photos. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Collect the items. Because this is my memory. As long as we find those things, then you can find out where I am now. As long as we find those things, then you can find out where I am now. Zhu Changsheng, who was standing nearby, hearing Su Ming's final whispered words. Suddenly their eyes brightened, immediately began to search carefully in the bedroom. Although I have been a criminal police officer for many years, the thinking in the case has already been determined. It's hard to put myself in the suspect's perspective. Conduct a criminal psychology test. But the experienced Zhu Chengsheng was very clear. The final words: Su Ming is not restoring the case process, but completely immerse oneself in Cheng Huangyan. After witnessing my best friend's fall from the building, Huangyan, who also intended to commit suicide, how will the choices be made? Through those soft, ball-shaped letters. And Huangyan's reason for this suicide and the deepest hope within. Still that sentence. Die in the happiest moments. Su Ming has also come to a rough conclusion. Before the suicide, Huangyan is very likely to go again, a place that the family once visited, to reminisce about the happy times spent with my parents, finally choosing the most beautiful place in memory, and one's own life. So this undoubtedly rules out. Huangyan hid to avoid being discovered by the police. Translation error. The place where he is now. It undoubtedly holds extraordinary significance in his life. Immediately after that, from Huangyan's various actions, one can infer that he misses the time when he had his parents by his side. At that time, to parents, isn't everything still about money? I'd often accompany him, instead of only seeing each other twice a year like now, to give this emotion a place to rest. Huangyan will definitely provide the relevant photos, hint, letter, and so on. Collect and preserve everything. Take out memories from time to time. This practice of collecting old items to express emotions, not uncommon in cases. Or say, basically, everyone will have this kind of mentality. So now, just search carefully in the bedroom. You may discover the special items collected by Huangyan. Due to time constraints, Zhu Chengsheng did not hesitate at all. First, he started searching in the bedroom. It is evident that Zhu Chengsheng is very experienced. He mainly searches the surface of the bookshelf, wait for the top drawer, a place that is convenient for frequent access. It's obvious. Zhu Chengsheng analyzed Su Ming's recent crime measurements, has quickly determined, since Huangyan is so concerned about the beautiful times of the past, then it will definitely be repeated often. Looking at the old items I have collected. Translation error. So, these old items are most likely placed in a place that can be easily accessed without too much trouble, and the nanny who followed to the second-floor bedroom, watching the actions of Su Ming and Zhu Chengsheng, just quietly take 2 steps back, dare not make a sound, as if pointing or saying something. He is skilled at reading the master's mood, can roughly determine Zio Yan must have committed some major crime when the nanny's mind was filled with complex thoughts. Zhu Changsheng was temporarily at the top of the bookshelf. I discovered a carefully packaged photo album. Open this album. The first page reveals Huang Yan's 8th birthday. A photo with his parents. A small cake is placed in front of the 3 people. 8 candles are inserted on top. At the same time, there was a dab of white cream on Huang Yan's nose. Second page. Huang Yan sat on the supermarket ride. Unknowingly, they were laughing joyfully at something they saw. Losing a front tooth looks a bit funny. Found it. Just based on the photos from the first 2 pages. Zhu Chengsheng was already able to confirm. This carefully wrapped album, it is exactly what they need the most right now. It is also an old object used by Huangyan to express emotions. The key album likely hiding important clues. No hesitation, no time wasted. Zhu Changsheng immediately continued to carefully flip through the photo album. Inside are various old family photos. However, judging from Huang Yan's age, these photos were taken at least 5 years ago. There hasn't been a recent group photo. Turning the pages of the album. When I turned to the third to last page, Zhu Chengsheng suddenly stopped moving, immediately frowned, because the third to last page does not have a photo, presented as a blank space. The most crucial thing is, there are photos on the second to last page. The last page also has a photo. It's precisely this third to last page. The original photo was taken away. Only the white pages of the album remain. At that moment, Zhu Changsheng was filled with confusion. Su Ming slowly opened his eyes, gradually stepping out of the atmosphere of crime. Criminal profiling. It is to imagine oneself in the role of the suspect, reconstruct the general process of the incident. So, to obtain accurate measurement results, one's emotions will definitely be influenced after being brought into suspicion. 3 seconds of silence. After completely eliminating the influence of emotions, Su Ming saw the album in Zhu Changsheng's hand. Let out a sigh of relief. Shenji, it seems you have found something. Now, I just want to see what kind of place it is. It has become the deepest and most beautiful memory of a lie. Through this period of collaboration, Zhu Chengsheng knew Su Ming is capturing details, and in terms of case reasoning ability, might be much stronger than him. So there was no pretense of superiority. Directly hand the album to Su Ming, telling the story. Xiao Ming, come and see. Your attention to detail in reasoning is better than mine. Let's see if we can quickly find where the lies are. By the way, the third to last photo in this album should be taken down by lies. I think the clue is likely in that photo. Su Ming did not decline the result album. There was no choice but to start from the first page, but rather tentatively. Turned directly to the third to last page. The next second, that blank photo album page, it had already appeared before Su Ming's eyes. Carefully observe the new and old condition of the album pages. Su Ming discovered the corners of the album pages show noticeable wear. Add more. I just tried to go through it once. Can you get to the third to last page? This undoubtedly indicates that, among all the photos in the album, this is the third to last one. It is the photo that lies love the most. We'll often flip through, because it's like a book. If a certain page is frequently turned, then there will be creases present, compared to other pages. This frequently turned page, it will be very easy to translate it all in one go. This is purely life experience. And now, in the third to last page, that lies frequently turned is a lie. The photo is gone. Only blank pages in the album. since it can be taken so seriously, and repeatedly flipped through this photo. So there is absolutely no possibility of loss. And the lies tore it apart and destroyed it. The only possibility is the lie specifically took down this photo last night, took it with me, because the location where the lost photo was taken. Inevitably, it is the most beautiful memory of a lie. The same is true. He chose the spot for his suicide. This moment, Su Ming finally felt that there was some hope. No longer do we need to guess the whereabouts of lies. Just confirm the content of the third to last photo. Then we can basically find the lies. Thinking of this, Su Ming no longer hesitated. Turn the page directly forward. Look at the photo on the fourth page. There was no choice but to start over. And the content of the fourth page photo is lies sit on the carousel, holding a string of candied hawthorn. Beside her was her mother. Her father did not appear in the frame. I suppose they are helping to take photos. After finishing the fourth to last page, Su Ming quickly flipped to the second to last page. Hope can be found through the missing third to last page. The two photos before and after identify possible patterns, analyzing the exquisite packaging of the album. In order to organize and collect this album, lies certainly require a lot of effort. Therefore, all these photos, it will likely be arranged in chronological order, instead of just putting them anywhere. The photo on the second to last page. A lie stands beside a clown performer. He even wore a red nose. Laughing so hard that I can't see my eyes. Joga, Carcel. Su Ming narrowed her eyes thoughtfully. Then he flipped to the last photo. The content of this photo is: the sunset hangs low on the horizon. A lie holds onto one. A stuffed bear bigger than oneself. Push hard into the Hue High District No. 19 bus. The scene, however, holds a different kind of warmth. That stuffed bear in the photo, it's probably just. It's the one on the bed right now. However, the teddy bear is not important. There are no crucial clues. On the contrary, after analyzing the photos before and after, Su Ming is already. One thing can be basically determined. The last few pages of this album. It's all about lies and parents. On the way to the amusement park. Filming content. After this, there haven't been any photo updates. This explains that, after going to the amusement park together, the work of the parents of lies, then we got busy. It has become the case that I can only return home a few times a year. Finally, the family's experience at the amusement park. Absolutely a lie in memory, the clearest and most precious memories. So, this third photo, it is absolutely related to the amusement park. As for which amusement park is this, it's not hard to deduce. However, maintaining a meticulous and error-free attitude, Su Ming turned to Zhu Changsheng beside him. He asked aloud, "Shenji, we are in Hue High District, the two starting stations of bus route 19. There is one among them. Translation error." This question. Zhu Changshen was momentarily stunned, but still nodded, answered quite affirmatively. "That's right. The starting station of bus route 19. It is Magic City University. The other is the Thank Joyful event. The bus makes a round trip. It will take 2 hours. Previously, to analyze the dismemberment case at Magic City University, I specifically take the bus route. Everyone has studied it carefully, so I definitely won't remember it wrong. Moreover, at that time, it's just specially positioned, convenient for current students of Magic City University. This is how the bus route is designed." Received this affirmative answer, Su Ming let out a heavy sigh. Immediately he continued. Chengdi, I am 80% sure. Huangyan District Fantuild. A joyful event has occurred. As for the specific clues, it's quite complicated to explain. I'll talk to you in the car later. What matters most now is we must act immediately. Rushing to Fantuild, only joyful events will do. This statement. Zhu Changsheng was taken aback. I never thought at all. Su Ming actually managed to do it so quickly. Just determine the location of Huangyan. This clue and detail reasoning ability. It's simply bewildering. Although filled with immense astonishment, still puzzled about how Su Ming came to this conclusion. But Zhu Chengsheng was very clear. The urgency and preciousness of time now. He waved without hesitation. So, Xiao Ming, immediately go to Fanged Happy Event. Drive over from here. It will take about 15 minutes. I will have the recent plainclothes security police go first. In order to avoid wearing the police uniform caused Huangyan distress. Trigger unnecessary consequences. After speaking, Zhu Chengsheng was the first to jog down the stairs. The remote control made a faint sound. The police car's siren stopped at the villa gate. That is, true urgency in every second. Su Ming was also very nervous. Hurrying down the stairs with the photo album, Yu Guang saw a middle-aged nanny who seemed a bit lost. Undoubtedly said, "Aunt, we have a task to handle now. No time to meet. You understand more details. Wait a moment. You go directly to the Hue High administrative team and wait for us. Just say it was Zhu Chengsheng who sent you. Cooperate with the investigation of a case. Remember, cooperating with investigations is the duty of every citizen. Let go. Don't worry. Officer." The middle-aged nanny immediately nodded, answered without hesitation. "Now, I closed the door. Just go to the administrative building." Before the middle-aged nanny could finish speaking, Su Ming had already vanished from sight, sat in the front passenger seat of the police car. Next second, before Su Ming could fasten his seatbelt, the roar of the engine has already begun, towards the location of Fantuild Adventure World. Speeding away, the harsh sound of sirens echoed on the highway. The numerous cars in front, they all actively scattered to avoid it. In the driver's seat, Zhu Changsheng removed the miniature earpiece from his ear with one hand, staring ahead with sharp eyes, quickly overtaking car after car. One side spoke quite solemnly. "Xiao Ming, no problem. I just had Husey check Fantuild Adventure. Surveillance at the entrance." Indeed, at 9 o'clock in the morning, it was 3 hours ago, Huangyan has entered Fantuild Adventure World. At the same time, 3 public security officers responsible for the Fantuild Adventure area. We are now inside the amusement park. However, due to the large number of tourists in a short period of time, cannot find Huangyan at all. Among them was a public security officer. They have already gone to the control room of Happy World. I hope to find Huangyan's location through the camera, but it is still extremely difficult. Fantuild Adventure Park is too big. There are indeed too many blind spots and gaps in the surveillance. Finding someone is like searching for a needle in a haystack. We must further narrow down the scope. Xiao Ming, you are in the album. Have you found any other clues? Zhu Chengsheng's words. Su Ming began to feel a sense of urgency. Huangyan arrived at Fantuild Adventure 3 hours ago. Gangwan's body was discovered 2 hours ago. In other words, on the way to the scene after receiving the report. Analyze the clues, discovering the traces of Huangyan. It has only been less than 2 hours. The progress of such cases is slow. It is already extremely terrifying. But now, it is still far from enough, because this uninterrupted 3-hour period, Zhugu Huangyan has committed suicide hundreds of times. Not to mention, after arriving at Faint Happy World, it will take an unknown amount of time to search for Huangyan. Urgent. Time is really tight. It must be further narrowed down. You need to find the range. This moment, Su Ming closed his eyes. Leaning against the chair, arms wrapped around the back of the chair, the right index finger lightly taps. My left forearm, forcing myself to relax and calm down. In the mind, it is constantly being analyzed and deduced. The third to last photo was taken away separately. It is enough to see Huang Yan's true feelings for him. So, this photo stands out compared to other amusement parks. Old photos. What other characteristics might there be? According to the content of the album, old photos of the amusement park, there are a total of 25 sheets. There are photos of corpse sightseeing. There are also photos with the dolls. There are also some particularly candid, mischievous photos. If it's the third last one, it's a photo of a corpse at an amusement park. Many amusement parks do not allow photography. Then it can be ruled out. Like a roller coaster, giant pendulum, pirate ship, and other special projects, only that kind is left. A more casual activity. There are so many projects. It's really difficult to filter out the specifics. If it's a doll group photo, or perhaps if you mess with the photo. These two categories are also nothing special. Many are quite similar. It shouldn't be singled out. So, one thing can be confirmed now. The third to last photo taken out. Absolutely unique and special. The only one. Special. Assuming continuously recalled numerous photos. Suddenly discovered something. Extremely important detail issues. That is, all the amusement park photos. There are no photos of Huang Yan and his parents together. Either it's a solo photo of Huangyan. Either way, it is Huang Yan and his father, or a photo of mother and me together. Because, while playing the game Shutter, there's simply no way. Ask other tourists to help take a picture. There must be someone. I need help taking photos. And when there is no time for fun, there's nothing worthwhile to film. Those dolls, 2 adults, not interested at all. So, this photo that was taken away, it's very likely that, during this family amusement park trip, the only group photo of the 3 of us, and translation error, we can sit together. And there are beautiful scenes worth filming. Interesting anecdotes. It must also be completely safe, sufficiently safe. Can let father or mother single-handedly raise your phone. In this special amusement park for filming, even in the amusement park, this kind of corpse retrieval, there aren't many. Just need. The amusement park is in line with the conditions for the thrilling experience. Translation error. 3 seconds later, Su Ming suddenly opened his eyes. Golden light flickered in the eyes. Looking into the distance. Has already appeared in sight. Fantawild Adventure World. And that, in a slow and continuous motion. Circular corpse examination. A hint of confidence appeared on her face. Said with a faint smile, Shenji, I already know. Huang Yan is at the amusement park. Where is this place? Already known. Where is Huang Yan? Su Ming's confident words. Moment. Zhu Changshan was taken aback for a moment. Even beneath my feet. Constantly pressing the gas pedal. Everyone is subconsciously relaxed for 2 seconds. who immediately reacted, "Keep going strong." Translation error. Jing Yi asked, "Can you be sure?" Xiao Ming, "Did you just notice? What key clues are there?" It can be seen that, although Su Ming just now, let's search again. Do you have any clues? In order to further narrow down the scope. But Zhu Qichen, actually, deep down inside, I didn't have much hope. After all, in the case of having only one photo album to determine the suspect, where are you right now? This is simply an almost impossible task, because there are no clues. To be completely whole, rely on logical reasoning to judge. This is really too difficult. You can say, Su Ming can access the album. Currently in Huangyan, at Faint Happy World, settle down. It's enough to astonish people. Result, it hasn't been long yet. Su Ming has dug out Huangyan again. Specific location. This is really, it's unbelievable. Feeling Zhu Qichen. Shock in the tone. Su Ming didn't either, deliberately keeping it under wraps. Squinting eyes, staring at the distance. Round amusement ride. Yuan Shengdao. Indeed, important clues have been discovered, just at the right time. I'll explain it to you as well. How was it determined earlier? Huangyan at Happy World. Speaking of which, Su Ming paused for 2 seconds. Lai organized his thoughts. Continue explaining. Chenji, you have also browsed through Huangyan before, this carefully curated album. So, you can recall, in this album, the last 25 photos. Is it all of them? A day at the amusement park, although it's the third to last. Taken away by Huangyan, but based on the previous few photos, then you can judge the third one. It must also be a photo from the amusement park. After this time, the photos haven't been updated. Describe Huangyan's parents. It has started to get busy. There's no time at all. Then took him to play in various places. So, the place where we played for the last time. Nature will be in Huangyan's mind, leaving the deepest impression, combining with the letter left by Huangyan. He said, to die in the happiest of times. This undoubtedly points to the last time. A family of 3 experiences a trip to the amusement park. After determining Huangyan's objective, just need to confirm again. Which amusement park is it? And the last photo. Just then there was a bus inside. So I just asked you. The issue of the starting point of bus route 19. Finally arriving at the amusement park. It is Fantawild Adventure World. This is what I just confirmed. The general process of the main location. Upon hearing this, Zhu Qichen was already in shock, and in quietly exerted effort on his lower teeth. I didn't expect that. Such detailed logical inference. Su Ming was actually able to do it in such a short time. Think it through. If it were him speaking, with years of administrative experience, maybe we can find out. Faint Happy World is the answer. But the time required, it is very likely 10 times, and even 100 times the time Su Ming spent. In this kind of case, time is life. It is the key factor in solving the case. If Su Ming had been able to, Hue High Brigade, perhaps, then how could it be called? The perfect crime, the Shanghai University dismemberment case. It shouldn't take long to solve this, right? As Zhu Chengsheng sighed inwardly, Su Ming's voice has once again echoed. The main venue has been confirmed. So next, we need to narrow down the search area. Because of Faint Happy World, it's just too big to find the lies. If we don't narrow down the scope, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. recalling those 25 photos once again. Actually, it can be very simple. Make a guess. Ming has 25 photos from the amusement park. Why did you choose this? Third from the last. Does this mean that the third to last photo, the most important thing about lies, it possesses its precious uniqueness, so it was specially taken away? So, just identify the content of the third to last photo. You can determine the current location of the lie. First, let's rule out the roller coaster, giant pendulum, etc. Places where photography is not allowed during the visit. Since we can't take photos anyway, that lie is natural. There won't be any photos to reminisce. Next is, you need to find the third to last photo, possible uniqueness. And here is the most crucial part. So, I'm right in my mind, constantly recalling and analyzing, like this last one, those 24 photos, judging if there's anything. The missing important thing. Finally, after I thought about it carefully for a while, suddenly realized something extremely important. That is, no group photo. Correct. In these 24 remaining photos, yet there isn't a single family photo of the three of us. So, I immediately judged that can make lies feel so real. In the end, all the photos to take away must be retrieved. It's very likely the last time. A photo with my parents. So, we can draw a conclusion. Just need to confirm. Location of the family photo with 3 members. Then it was found. The location of the lie. This sounds hard to find. But after careful analysis and speculation, it's actually not that difficult. Because from the other 24 photos, I saw through it several important details. First point, there are only 3 types of photos: camera play photos, doll photo shoot, quirky snapshot. But the doll is in sync. Photos of quirky candid shots. Only lies take the stage alone. Neither of his parents were present. So, it can only be in a family photo taken during a sightseeing trip by analyzing the travel photos taken through the lens. Even the carousel, bumper car perspective. At most, it's just my parents. One person enters the scene with a lie. Another person is helping with the filming. Because, while enjoying the view, it's not convenient. Let others help take the photos. So, I want to take a photo together. We must find one. To have the 3 of us together. And it doesn't need to control the steering wheel, or holding hands, etc. The most important thing is the scenery and atmosphere must be quite nice. That's how you take a photo, and the meaning that was washed out. Under so many demands, even though there are many cameras in the amusement park, but the range has already become very small. The answer can be concluded now. That is, at this moment, Su Ming paused for 2 seconds, pointing at the window, located in Unveiled Adventure, Round Viewing Island, the landmark architecture of Unveiled Adventure. It measures a full 160 meters. Gao can overlook most of the Modu Magic City. Ranked 3rd in the entire Dragon Kingdom. Eye of the Magic City. Ferris wheel. Following Su Ming's finger, I looked. Zhu Changsheng's gaze fell upon that which is called the Ferris wheel of Magic City. Immediately afterward, incredible shock and amazement suddenly filled Zhu Changsheng's mind. What kind of talent is it? Only then can I emerge from those 24 photos, relying solely on various logical deductions and option elimination. Reach the final correct answer. You need to know, even after being a criminal police officer for over 10 years. The various cases solved are too numerous to count. Zhu Chengsheng listened to Su Ming's explanation. I couldn't help but feel a sudden chill run down my spine. Because, if I say, inferring lies from the album, at Fantwild Adventure World, he can do this too. It might just take a little longer. But the lie is inferred to be above the Ferris wheel. Zhu Changsheng thought carefully for a few seconds. All could not help but sigh quietly. Certainly, it's highly likely that I won't be able to obtain this crucial information, let alone. It's been such a short time. How talented must one be? How considerate? How strong is logical reasoning ability? Only then can such information be obtained. If I hadn't seen Su Ming's file with my own eyes, Zhu Chengsheng is starting to doubt. Is this a police academy student who hasn't graduated yet? Still the veteran ace detective of the Longuo police system. Of course, Zhu Chengsheng will never know. Su Ming's deduction ability is so strong because it's just that a long illness makes one a doctor. After all, complete the simulation starting from 100,000. Perfect crime. Su Ming needs to consider things even more carefully than the criminal police. Although internally amazed and shocked, but Zhu Chengsheng immediately reacted. Put on the recently picked miniature earpiece. Contact the public security officers on the dedicated intercom channel. Sayo He. This is the Huey High Criminal Investigation Team. It's in the surveillance room of Fantwild Adventure World, right? Sorry, but I can't assist with that. I just found a crucial clue here. You will soon pull up the surveillance for the Ferris wheel. Quickly skim through the scenes in the past 3 hours. Please pay attention. Is there a girl with a lamp? It's the lie I mentioned to you earlier. Take a look immediately. If the figure of a limping girl appears, say it to me right away. I am almost at faint. If there are any feelings. Speaking halfway through, Zhu Chengsheng suddenly fell silent. Suddenly opened her eyes wide. Serious tone. Are you sure? Sayo He. Are you sure it was an hour and a half ago? The lie carried a backpack onto the Ferris wheel. Then, so much time has passed, and I've learned to let go. At least, there were no sightings of him coming out on the surveillance. Okay, I understand. Sayo He. Just keep an eye on the surveillance. Others rush towards the Ferris wheel location. First with Yanqing. Communicate with you and Fang. Evacuate unrelated civilians. I can arrive in 5 minutes at most. Remember, if you didn't see the lie, let's hold off on taking any rash actions for now. After speaking, Zhu Changsheng once again removed the ear pulse. Just wanted to say something. Su Ming then spoke again. The Eye of Magic City stands at a height of 160 meters. Therefore, running takes 30 minutes for a lap. So, the lie has at least been told 3 times now, not even stepping out of the cockpit. But this is difficult for us. Actually, it can be considered good news. Because the Eye of Magic City is a landmark building. You can see most of the magical city. Furthermore, Faint Happy World is a suite, bought on the same day. You can play with all the various facilities inside an unlimited number of times. So there are often tourists. Repeat the Eye of Magic City. Of course, the premise is that there are no other tourists in line. At the same time, the most critical thing is, every time I finish a lap, when returning to the cabin's starting point, the staff will all inquire, should we continue to ride? The lie is now repeated 3 times. Can determine at least half an hour ago. His consciousness is clear. Still hasn't committed suicide, despite the possibility of overdose, or cases of overdose on drugs. After all, from Jiang Wan's blood. drug and opioid residue detected. But at the very least, there is still a good chance. The result is even better than we initially expected. Is that so? Shenji, Su Ming's calm words. Zhu Changsheng, who was originally a bit anxious and worried, quickly calmed down. Sweaty hands nodded in agreement. That's right. There is still a chance. Xiao Ming, once all these cases are concluded, I must go to the neighbors and negotiate. No matter what. At least it must be. I'll get you a third-class merit. You have to come back. The police car is still on the road and delayed. But it's far from Fang's happy world. There is less than 5 minutes left in the journey. At this moment, inside the Ferris wheel cabin known as the Eye of Sorcery, wearing a pure black hoodie, pure black pants, Yuang Yan, even wearing black shoes on his feet. With her elbow resting on her thigh, she supported her chin, staring blankly ahead. He is not like Jan Wan. Choose your most beautiful clothes, but rather wore it even is stained with blood, dark clothing that won't stand out. As the cabin is about to rise to its highest point, Yuang Yan suddenly came back to her senses, quickly took out a photo from beside the seat. In the photo, Yuang Yan, whose face clearly still shows youthful innocence, sitting right in the middle, placed both hands in front of your chest forming a heart shape. On either side were his parents. The two raised their hands high for Chen Aizin, put Yuang Yan inside. Yuang Yan's father was holding the phone up with one hand to take a photo. It looks a bit awkward and unattractive. But this is where the three of them are at the highest point of the Ferris wheel, the only family photo taken in the past 6 years. Yuang Yan glanced at the photo again, then immediately sat in the same position, pose in exactly the same way during the festival. The other hand is holding the phone for a selfie. When the Ferris wheel finally reached the highest point, click, the sound of the phone's camera shutter went off. Yuang Yan immediately opened the album. I glanced at the photo I had just taken. Observe carefully. You can find photos from the same location. In fact, it's far more than just that one. It's not just 3 cards. But there are many, many sheets. Some photos are filled with dark clouds. Some photos are taken under the blazing sun. There are also some photos with light rain. Actually, over the years, Yuang Yan didn't even know she came to Fangt alone. How many times has the happy world been? Maybe. You probably can't even count them all. 3 seconds later, a trace of resentment appeared on her face, and a smile hidden deep within the loss. Shook his head and mocked himself. HMPH. It's really funny. Only I am alone. Yet they still wanted to take a group photo of the 3 of them. I almost forgot. It turns out, 5 years ago, I've always been alone. I really wish you could be with me. Yuangian sound. From the very beginning, there was a cold self-mockery, with a clearly audible cry in her voice. 2 tears slid down from the corner of the eye. Yuang Yan immediately wiped it off with his sleeve, suddenly saw a few drops, the dried bloodstains on the sleeve. Suddenly, memories flooded back, that incredibly heavy thud of something hitting the ground, and those eyes that longed for death, Yuang Yan's emotions. Sudden decline. I glanced to the side. In the corner of the seat, the bottle is already half empty, but there are no labels at all. Unknown judge of gray liquid, looking up at the sky. I hope this works. Not allowing my tears to fall. Some broken thoughts murmured to themselves. Others say, this is the most painful way to die. It will only give you time for regret, but it won't give you a chance to regret. But why? Why are you two? Until now, I haven't regretted it yet. Why, until now, even a phone call. No one called me. Why, not even a single sentence. There wasn't even a scolding. Why, 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 the police car is still on the highway. Currently, we are close to Unveiled Adventure World. Only 3 kilometers left. Zhu Qingsheng carefully, temporarily turn off the siren to avoid provoking Huang Yan's unstable emotions, resulting in severe consequences. After all, in past lessons, there are many. The deceased who intended to jump off the building, standing at the edge of the tall building. After a long struggle with my thoughts, it took a lot to calm down my emotions. Result, suddenly hearing the sound of sirens, suddenly feel inexplicably excited again. Extremely. Translation error. To thoroughly investigate this full case, dig out that name. The suspect lurking in the shadows. Huang Yan is the most important character. It is also a continuation, the key to the follow-up clues of the case. It must be ensured as much as possible. His life safety. The police car stopped in front of the entrance to Happy World. Su Ming and Zhu Chengsheng immediately opened the car door. Walk quickly down. The police uniform on my body, already taken off. Change into casual clothes. There was not a hint of hesitation at all. The two of them jogged along the path, known as the Eye of the Magic City, location of the giant Ferris wheel. At this moment, after communication between the two arriving public security officers, there were dozens of staff members. They specifically came here to evacuate, persuading a large number of tourists planning to ride the Ferris wheel. The reasons provided are all. The Ferris wheel has safety hazards. Maintenance inspection will take half a day. Arrived at the starting point of the Ferris wheel. Besides regularly asking tourists, do the staff need to exit the lower cabin? There are 2 other people standing. Zhu Chengsheng looked at the 2 young faces. One is plump, the other is slender. It is clearly visible. The public security officer with a different temperament from ordinary people. Thank you for your hard work. What is the general situation currently? Upon hearing this question, the 2 public security officers exchanged glances. The one with the larger build. He explained aloud. Not difficult. Do it. Cooperate with your administrative team's work. This is our responsibility. We arrived here 5 minutes ago. As soon as they arrived, they immediately instructed the staff to evacuate the crowd. No more visitors went up the Ferris wheel afterward. Then, to determine based on surveillance footage. Currently, Huang Yan has entered that cabin. It should be at the highest point. It will take about 15 more minutes to descend. At that time, the staff will first ask Huang Yan, do you want to ride the Ferris wheel again? If he doesn't sit down, then we wait for him to exit the cabin. Normal agency will be fine. But if he still wants to sit, then the staff would directly cut off the power. Once we completely take control of Huangyan, rerun the Ferris wheel. The staff just contacted through the reserved phone. There will be a brief power outage soon. The notification was given after Huangyan. Visitors unable to arrive on time. This answer. Zhu Chengsheng nodded in satisfaction. He patted the shoulders of the 2 security police. Thank you, Dao. The arrangements are all set. You've really been a bother to both of you. Until this case is completely resolved. I will definitely meet with your director then. Let's have a good chat. I must give you both credit for this. Then turned to look beside. Su Ming, observing the Ferris wheel, inquired quite solemnly, how is it, Xiao Ming? The arrangement just now. Do you think there's anything missing? Do you have any other opinions? No objections. It's already very detailed. Su Ming shook his head. Then she furrowed her brow and continued. I was just thinking. The hidden puppeteer creates. What is the purpose of this case? Jiang Wan's background is very simple. In fact, there isn't much value to extract. So the problem might lie with Huang Yan, the main suspect. They want to kill Huang Yan to reach the goal faster. So it ended up causing Jiang Wan's death as well. What is the purpose? Two middle school students. Is there anything that the suspect needs? Or it could be related to their parents. All I can think of right now is the suspect wants to attack Jiang Wan's parents' business. So they orchestrated this consciousness crime murder. Still say, it's truly aimless. It was just a random act of murder without any warning. These words left Zhu Chengsheng momentarily stunned. The clues became vague after the headache. Finding the truth remains difficult at the same time. Secretly marveling at Su Mingqiao's advanced, logical thinking. The situation in Huang'an is still not confirmed. He began to consider the possible motives for future crimes. Such talent. It's truly frightening. Take a deep breath. Zhu Chengsheng suppressed all his astonishment. Looking up at the Ferris wheel, he said confidently, regardless of the motivation, they must be captured and brought to justice. But the most important thing right now is we need to take control of Huangyan as soon as possible. The incredibly long 15 minutes slowly passed. Tourists and crowds around the Ferris wheel have already been taken by the staff. Persuasion to turn back in the bustling, joyful world filled with crowds seemed particularly strange and special. When? The Ferris wheel is still slowly turning. But Su Ming and Zhu Chengsheng, among others, the transparent screen of the cockpit has already revealed, dressed in all black. The eye slightly reddened. Huang Yan, who had clearly been crying. The distance from the cockpit to the departure point. There is less than 10 meters distance left. The uncle in the dark green work uniform, clearly a bit nervous, speaking with a bit of a stutter. Sorry, I can't assist with that. Are you still doing that? This is already the 4th time. I see. I think you should just come down. Let's go try some other activities. Stack's words awaken Huang Yan, who is currently in a daze due to the corpse god, then glanced at the gray bottle next to him, furrowed his brow in confusion. Fine, you're still so clear-headed. Isn't it said online? After taking this medicine, the slowest one, will you be poisoned, vomit, and faint in just a few hours? That, even if sent to the hospital in time, they can only watch their own organs fail and die. Here, someone is already here. Someone has been waiting in line for a long time. Couldn't get a seat. Just come down. The voice of the staff echoed once again. Once again Huangyan's, bringing thoughts back. Then I could only pack my things. Somewhat hoarse. Good. I'm going down. Not done speaking yet. Huang Yan's voice suddenly stopped. Because he was just packing up his things. Yu Guang suddenly approached the waiting area. Not even a single person. Not to mention, someone has been waiting in line for a long time. At the same time, Huang Yan gently raised her head. See you again. There are several people waiting at the starting point. But their gazes were in perfect harmony. All are on him. Huang Yan, who was already very intelligent, immediately thought of something, quickly returned to the original state. I shouted in my heart with an inexplicable sense of fear. Uncle, I want to see the scenery again. This is really the last round. Just finished speaking. Standing by with hands crossed. Zhu Chengsheng on my back. He immediately made a power outage gesture. The staff immediately turned off the power switch. The next second, in a dull mechanical grinding sound emerged. Towering Ferris wheel. Stop at this moment. The colossal eye of the demon's supervisor. At this moment, everything is still. The Ferris wheel that stopped due to a power outage. And Su Ming, who was approaching the great pressure, with Zhu Changsheng and others, immediately stirred Huang Yan's emotions. Hastily and anxiously pulled from the backpack, took out a handful. There is a fruit knife with liver and blood stains. Count it. Don't come over. I don't know. How could you find me so quickly? But you mustn't get any closer. I intended to take control of Huang Yin immediately. Restore the Ferris wheel palace as soon as possible. Su Ming and others to avoid causing panic among other tourists. Upon seeing the fruit knife in Huang Yan's hand, immediately they all stopped in unison. Dare not approach rashly. Of course, it's not that I'm afraid of being harmed by Huang Yan, but was afraid Huang Yan might commit suicide in a moment of emotional turmoil. At that time, if you accidentally cut an artery, I'm afraid it might be too late to even send him to the hospital. Zhu Changsheng stepped forward slightly, gently pressed down with your left hand, spoke in a gentle voice. Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Huang Yin, we are here to help you, rather than coming specifically to catch you. There is still a chance to make things right. Now coming out of the cockpit. Are you okay? Zhu Changsheng's persuasion, it has no effect at all. Just took the opportunity to walk a couple of steps. Huang Yin excitedly intervened to stop. Step back. Give me some space. You can't help me at all. If you really want to help me, can we just let the Ferris wheels start moving? Uncle Police, please, I'm begging you. And I take another round, please? One round is enough. Huang Yan's emotions. Extremely excited. The arm holding the fruit knife. Everyone is trembling. In this situation, the experienced Zhu Changsheng absolutely will not allow Huang Yin riding the Ferris wheel alone again, because it's very likely, after a turn of the Ferris wheel, what waits for us is not Huang Yin, but a silent corpse. But we can't just waste time like this. We must find a solution quickly, calm down Huang Yan's emotions, or walk out of the cabin yourself. At this moment, Su Ming, who had been silent all along, squinting and thinking seriously for 2 seconds, carefully analyzed Huang Yan's current emotions and possible reasons for the redness around the eyes. He seriously picked up his phone and advised, Huang Yan, your parents are on their way. I think even if you really want to do something extreme like this. Translation error. Seeing your parents for the last time, after saying everything you wanted to say, leaving alone once again. And what do you think is the reason? We were able to find you so quickly. That was after I called your parents. They told me right away, this is the place where you are most likely to be. You feel they don't care about you. Then why are they so sure? You will be here. Before Su Ming could finish speaking, Huang Yan became excited, interrupt subsequent speech. Shaking his head, he released the emotions within. No, impossible. They haven't called me yet. How could it be on the way? Don't lie to me anymore. Cheat. Why would I lie to you? Su Ming showed a rather disdainful expression. He shook his hand and said excitedly, all the evidence is in here. To avoid your emotions getting too intense, make irreparable mistakes. We will inform your parents immediately. Do not contact you. Just leave it to the police. They just need to put down their work. Arriving here at the first opportunity is all it takes. Huang Yan, If you don't believe it, I really have no way out. But you can think it over carefully. If, if it weren't for your parents saying so, this Ferris wheel, it's your last family photo. You will definitely come to this place. Otherwise, how could we possibly to find you in such a short time? The police won't deceive a child like you. There are call logs on this phone. I am handing the phone to you now. The lock screen password is 2580, even to write the case files. All calls are recorded. Just listen to it yourself later. This speech. Huang Yan was clearly momentarily lost in thought. My heart was completely shaken. Yeah, if it weren't for Mom, Dad, and the police saying so, how could I possibly be found so quickly? This is definitely impossible things. So, the reason Mom and Dad haven't called. This was specifically requested by the police. Afraid it might affect your emotions? Huang Yan kept asking himself in his mind, unbeknownst to them, already brought in by Su Ming, in a trap specifically for the strange frog, utilizing Huang Yan during this time. There is a high probability of details involving the use of drugs and opioids capture its thinking and judgment abilities, a vulnerability that drastically decreases in a short time. Guide the indoctrination to Huang Yan. The police were able to find him so quickly. It must be the thought of help from their parents. To prove this, Huang Yan's parents still care about him greatly, even knows where he might go. Using pure psychological suggestion and reverse logic, relax the tense emotions of Huang Yan, and use this to prove it to the phone. Gradually approaching Huang Yan, Zhu Chengsheng standing at the back. It was a silent gasp of cold air. My heart was filled with shock and disbelief. Because what Su Ming just said. It's all about psychological and subconscious suggestion techniques. The most crucial thing is, in such a short time, can create such effective suggestion techniques. They are no less impressive than those psychologists. Let alone using the police's name to spread lies. The expression on his face remained unchanged. This is simply, fortunately, Su Ming is now a criminal police officer. Otherwise, relying solely on this mental quality and approach, not to mention a fugitive. At the very least, it needs to be filed in advance. At this moment, Huang Yan was still questioning herself. Su Ming had already walked up to the side of the cabin, gently knocked on the cabin door, unlocked the door outside. He spoke quite seriously. I have already unlocked the door outside. You twist the door lock open again. Then the door opened. Just a little bit is fine. I'll pass you my phone then. Check the call log. I just wanted to know if you were lying to me. Just need to open the door a little. You have a fruit knife again. You don't have to worry anymore, right? Huang Yan immediately reacted, glancing at Su Ming, who wore a faint smile, shifted slightly in position. Unlock the door inside the Ferris wheel cabin. A hand gently pushes open the door. The other hand still held the fruit knife. Just as Huang Yan was about to touch the phone, Su Ming suddenly pulled his phone back a bit. It feels like I'm recalling something. With a gentle smile. Wait a moment. Suddenly remembered. I have something to ask. Huang Yan classmate, do you really like blue gold lately? Where should we go to see the blue gold by the beach? I discovered. You and classmate Zhang Wan. Recently, I've been paying a lot of attention to Lan Jin. What is going on? I'm a bit curious about this matter, even if I help you this time in exchange. Looking at something so close. But Su Ming deliberately kept the phone at a distance. Huang Yan lightly bit her lower lip. The butt shifted a few more inches. Move closer to the left cabin door. The desire to grab my phone has grown stronger. Some are anxious to the point of, "It's not that I like it. It's a game." Pain. Recently, I've been playing something called the blue gold game. Hearing the words blue gold game, Su Ming's gaze suddenly turned sharp, then deliberately placed the phone down, as Huang Yan held half of the phone. When I was about to take the phone away, suddenly asked without any warning, "By the way, Huang Yan, do you still remember what I said? What is the password for Xiuping?" Su Ming suddenly asked. Huang Yan was momentarily distracted, his attention fully on the phone, subconsciously showing a confused expression, remembering those four Xiuping codes. At that moment, Huang Yan fell into a daze. At this moment, the self-awareness significantly decreased. Su Ming had no hesitation at all. Immediately extend the right foot to block the cabin door. The whole person quickly squeezed into the cabin, the left hand originally holding the phone. Immediately let go. Jingjai grabbed Huang Yan's right wrist that held the knife. The empty right hand is always ready. Translation error. Su Ming's sudden action. Ling, still in a daze, didn't react at all. But when he finally became aware, as I prepared to wield the fruit knife, an unbearable pain shot through his wrist. The fruit knife stained with dried blood fell into the cabin. Su Ming immediately stepped on the fruit knife with his left foot. Further restrict Huang Yan's movements using body weight. This sudden control action, this made Huang Yan even more agitated. Struggling hard, I shouted, It hurts. Let go, just let go of me." But this struggle is completely useless. Whether it's strength, skill, or physique, the two are completely on different levels. Moreover, due to prolonged mental strain, in addition to the use of medication and drugs, it left Huang Yan completely powerless to resist. Zhu Chengsheng, standing at the back, immediately stepped forward, hurriedly asked, "Zio Ming, how is it? Have you managed to control it? Are you hurt?" Controlling suspects like this. Behavior of individuals seeking to commit suicide or with suicidal intent. Police are extremely easy to be mistaken for. It has even appeared before. The situation of someone falling from a building and dying despite rescue efforts. So Zhu Chensheng immediately. They are also concerned about Su Ming's situation. Zhu Chengsheng did not respond immediately. Su Ming looked at the still emotionally unstable Huang Yan. But Huang Yan can no longer struggle, or rather, there is no way to fight back. He pulled handcuffs from his waist. Because this is a Ferris wheel cabin. So let's just start with Huang Yan's right hand. Cuffing oneself to the left hand. Let out a breath of frustration. Advised in a gentle tone. "All right, relax, Huang Yan. Just now was to ensure your safety. So they resorted to such coercive measures. I hope you can cooperate well in the future. Don't do such extreme things anymore. That would be good for both of us." After speaking, Su Ming turned to look at Zhu Chengsheng behind him, shook the left hand that was handcuffed together with Huang Yan. He chuckled lightly. "No injuries, Brother Sheng, due to the recent emergency situation." So I recklessly. Zhu Chengsheng waved his hand. Su Ming doesn't need to explain anything. He then glanced at Huang Yan Dao beside him. "Huang Yan, classmate, this morning at Shute Middle School, a sudden fall from a building has been discovered. We found inside." Before Zhu Chengsheng could finish speaking, Huang Yan tightly grasped his phone in his left hand. With dull eyes, he stared at Su Ming. Choked voice asked, "So you, were you just lying to me? My parents actually don't have any. They have never looked for me either. They are still busy with their so-called work. Not to mention telling you that I'm here. You are lying to me. You from the very beginning." They are all just deceiving me, looking at Huang Yan's disappointed eyes, and felt the emotions of impending collapse. Su Ming couldn't help but let out a long sigh, pulling out the tightly held phone. There was no deliberate explanation given. Just dial the top number. Turn on the speaker. Just connected. Even the first sound of waiting for the silence to break. The phone was immediately answered. A worried, middle-aged man's voice. Suddenly a sound rang out. Officer Su, Officer Su. You. Have you found Xiao Yan? Have you found Xiao Yan? As soon as I heard a voice that is both familiar and somewhat strange, Yuan Yin immediately widened his eyes. The emotions visibly stabilized. Meeting Su Ming. No immediate response. This is the voice of a middle-aged man. Immediately panicked. So, Officer Su, please answer quickly. We will follow your request. I didn't call Sion. I also don't dare to call and affect you. How is the situation now? Xiao Yan won't. It can't be. At this moment, on the phone, suddenly another hoarse voice came through. The roar of an enraged and mad woman. Last named Huang. 1 year ago, when Xiao Yan had the car accident, I said, forget about the company. In the end, you told me, it is a critical time for the company. Just 2 more years until retirement. The money earned by then, even if Xiao Yan has leg problems, cannot work. It's enough to spend a lifetime. Result, running around every day. I can only go home a few times a year. This company, I'm done. Go find someone else yourself. But if something happens to Xiao Yan these days, don't even think about it. This roar, Su Ming has already guessed it is Huang Yan's mother. Glancing at Huang Yan on the seat, he found him staring blankly ahead, in the eye socket, but is slightly covered with a layer of mist. Su Ming let out a helpless sigh. Finally he responded, found it. Now, I am right beside Huang Yan. Do you want to talk to him? He handed the phone to Huang Yan, looking at the phone screen. The familiar number displayed. Huang Yan opened his mouth. It seems there is a lot to say, but didn't know what to say. Yu Guang looked towards the gray bottle in the corner of the seat, shook his head at Su Ming. Indicates he doesn't want to talk. Su Ming didn't care. He picked up the phone from Huang Yan's front. Your daughter doesn't want to talk right now. By the way, you don't need to come to Fangt. Joyful World. Just go directly to the Hue High Criminal Investigation Team. We need to take Huang Yin to the team. There is a case. Need his assistance. As for the specific situation and issues, let's talk when you get to the Criminal Investigation Unit. All right. Just like that. After speaking, Su Ming hung up the phone without hesitation, looking into the eyes. Somewhat dazed, Huang Yan explained. Yes, I just tricked you. Your parents have no idea at all. You are in the world of joy. This is the clue I found. The result inferred. However, your parents' worries about you. I did not deceive you. I didn't call you. It is also our deliberate request. Avoid causing unknown consequences. This case involving a minor, according to the regulations, must notify their guardian. So, coming here, on the road to Joyful World, Su Ming had already communicate with Huang Yan's parents. So, just let Huang Yan, in the words that ease vigilance, it's barely a mix of truth and falsehood, put the phone back in the pocket. Su Ming gently shook the handcuffs. Huang Yan snapped back to reality. It is a dish. Done. Now I know. Your position in your parents' hearts, I suppose. Stop searching for life and death. Clarify the issue. That will be fine. As for them, why are we obsessed with making money? Lack of things to accompany you. At that time, you are your own family. Let's communicate better next time. Let's head back to the police station first. Regarding the blue gold game, I need you. Say everything. The words in the future ensuing statement thoroughly provoked Huang Yan's nerves. The mist in my eyes finally can't hold it in any longer, transformed into drops of tears sliding down the cheeks. Dull and hoarse voice. Later, but I have no future left. Even if I began to regret it. There's no chance for regret anymore. These words are filled with regret. Ling Su Ming and Zhu Changsheng, who stood behind. Everyone was a bit surprised. Following Huangyan, a somewhat vacant gaze looked over. A dark gray bottle without a label appeared in sight. The liquid inside. There is less than half left. Add more. What Huang Yan just said. Even if I regret it now, there is no chance for regret anymore. Immediately let Su Ming and Zhu Changsheng both thought of a certain mortality rate. Nearly 100% pesticide. That is the white grass withered. In the entire records of the Dragon Kingdom, Baikao is not only the highest in mortality rate, it is the pesticide that causes the highest number of fatalities, repeatedly used in criminal cases, especially in cases of suicide. To say it without exaggeration, other pesticides have killed people combined. It's probably not even half as withered as the white grass. Because just a 15 milliliter mistake of glyphosate, the mortality rate is already around 50%. If you drink more than 50 milliliters, then it can basically be announced. There is no need for treatment anymore. The scariest thing is, moreover, it can also be absorbed through the skin membrane. It is not necessary to take it. So, there have been many instances in the past, passing through the wasteland where the white grass has just withered. Cases of pesticide poisoning occur. Let's talk about the mortality rate caused by the withering grass. The reason it is so high, it is due to, it is not like other pesticides. Severe adverse reactions occurred, various types of vomiting blood, dizziness and fainting, etc. Just after drinking Baikao, there will basically be no unusual feelings. A few days later, then the entire immune system began to collapse. Each organ will gradually fail, but still unable to kill. The patient still has extremely clear consciousness. After a while, the lungs began to undergo irreversible changes. The pain brought by difficulty in breathing, and more family members gathered by the sick. The patient begins to feel immense regret. I begged the doctor to do their best to save me, but it had no effect at all. The patient can only wait helplessly to suffocate to death, and it was under a state of clear consciousness. On the internet, there is a saying that describes him perfectly. The withered grass will give you time to regret, but it won't give you a chance to regret. So, due to the increasing number of people committing suicide with white grass, the country banned the sale of paraquat in 2016. Academician who invented paraquat. They were further insulted by the families of those who committed suicide using white grass, bearing the brunt of an unforeseen disaster. In the end, I can only publicly state, how many years has Baikao sold? He felt guilty for many years, but he never expected a special herbicide. Someone will pour it into their mouth. The toxicity of white grass. It can be said to be extremely terrifying. And now, liquid in the corner bottle. There is less than half left. If the white grass is truly withered, there was no room for redemption at all. Death It's just a matter of time. Zhu Qingshen immediately looked seriously at Huan Yan. Be extremely serious. Huan Yan, tell me immediately. The thing in this bottle. Is the white grass withered? Where are you from? The banned pesticide that I obtained. Is it the person who gave you drugs? Clearly, pesticides that have already been banned, appearing in the Magic City. And Huan Yan also drank half. Zhu Chengsheng immediately thought of this bottle of Bai Cao Ku. Could it be the suspect lurking behind the scenes? Hand it over to Huan Yan along with the drugs. Seeing the serious Zhu Chengsheng, Huan Yan couldn't help but feel a bit scared, shrugged his shoulders, nodded gently in response. It is white grass withered, but I don't know. Officer, you said. Give me drugs. No one is giving me drugs. Moreover, this bottle of Bai Cao Ku, I bought it at a potted flower shop near my home. I found it online. After taking this medicine, then you will definitely die. No chance for regret. So I went to the flower shop to ask. I didn't expect it to happen just like that. As the words fell, Zhu Chengsheng, who was originally tense, suddenly let out a sigh. Looking at Su Ming beside me, shaking his head, he felt relieved. No one farms in the Magic City district. Those flower shops. I definitely wouldn't dare enter Baikao Ku. But it's a hefty fine. Additionally, revoke the license. So I estimate. In this bottle, it shouldn't be that the white grass has withered. It could be something else. Let's take him back to the police station first. This bottle of stuff, it must be brought back as well. Let the technical class test it quickly. Su Ming somewhat agreed, added, shook the handcuffs again, but smiled. Lies, looks like your luck is good. There is a high probability that it can still happen. The chance for regret has come, but the premise of regret is cooperate with our police work. Don't hold anything back later. Let's go. Your parents are also on their way to the police station. No need on the Ferris wheel. Still reminiscing. Although currently, lies keep emotions stable. But Su Ming didn't dare to unlock the handcuffs. What if something happens then? It might be too late for regrets. Moreover, in such a public setting, a place crowded with tourists, definitely not suitable for interrogation. Bring it back to the Hue High Criminal Investigation Team as soon as possible is the most correct choice. Upon learning that their parents were on their way, and in the bottle, it definitely isn't Bai Cao crying out. The mood of lies, it's obviously much better now. Nodded. Slowly stand up. Following Su Ming with my head down, the police car sped down the road, carrying lies, arrived at the Hue High Criminal Investigation Team. Su Ming and Zhu Chengsheng. The two did not rush to interrogate the lies, but in the conference room. The meeting has started. Relevant clues and intelligence. Because about this campus, clues of the suspect behind the fall from the building. Currently, it is almost a blank slate, but there are also many. Other scattered clues must be carefully selected. Please wait as long as possible. Uncovering the criminal suspect in one fell swoop. After the two exchanged opinions, Zhu Chengsheng frowned, lightly tapping the table with her brows furrowed. Looking at Su Ming with some confusion, I asked, Blue gold game, according to the meaning of lies. He and Zhang Wan is playing some kind of a special game that ultimately leads to suicide. Given the current situation, this so-called blue gold game, I'm afraid the problem will only get worse. Before Zhu Chengsheng could finish speaking, Wan Hu strode directly into the conference room, pull out a test report, handing it to Zhu Chengsheng. while making faces at Su Ming. "Chenji, the report is out. According to our technical department's inspection, the liquid in that bottle is paper candy syrup. It is not paraquat." At the same time, Shen Ling, the forensic expert, also analyzed. The deceased Jiang Wan wrote about drugs in the night. It is not just a single drug, but rather various, highly pure drug mixture. But at least there are heroin, ice drug, K-powder, these three common types of drugs. Finally, Huang Yan is currently emotionally stable. His parents also went to the brigade, but to avoid situations like interference, temporarily not allowing them to meet the whole family. Upon hearing this, Zhu Chengsheng nodded, took the report from Wang Hu's hands. "Look at Su Ming," who stood up and signaled. "Let's go. Xiao Ming, let's go to Huangyan for an inspection. Let's take a look. This case, codenamed Blue Gold Game. How cautious will the mastermind behind the scenes be? Although the general details are still unclear. But from the suspect hiding in the shadows, criminal methods that can be controlled by consciousness, using the so-called blue whale game to push victims to suicide, it is enough to see. The criminal intelligence of this suspect is remarkably high. With those who are casual, the cases that can be solved are different. Currently, the only breakthrough, it is from Huang Yan. Gather more useful clues. Finally done. Due to the severity of the case. Soaring rapidly. Su Ming and Zhu Chengsheng. No more delays. Bringing all the necessary items. Walked into the interrogation room. At this moment, Huang Yan quietly bowed his head, sitting in the interrogation chair. Emotions are clearly much more stable now, but for safety reasons, still did not unlock the handcuffs on his hands, preventing self-harm due to drug cravings. It has just returned to the criminal investigation team. The technician took Huang Yan to have his blood drawn, confirmed the presence of drugs and opioid residues in the body. The components in Chen Fen and Jiang Wan's blood are no different. Now, the emotional state seems stable. But if the addiction kicks in the next second, it's not surprising to do something extreme. Sitting down at the interrogation table, Su Ming first walked in front of Huang Yan. He tapped the interrogation chair. Huang Yan makes Jiang and sit quietly in a daze, awaken and regain consciousness, then walked to the back of the interrogation room. Turn on the camera that has already been set up, looking at the somewhat tired Huang Yan. Huan Sheng explained, according to the law, if we need to interrogate minors, a guardian is required. It means your parents were present at the same time. However, due to the serious nature of this case, to avoid any other factors interfering with the interrogation. So after obtaining your parents' permission and authorization, they won't come to the interrogation room with you this time. However, speaking of which, Su Ming pointed to the surveillance camera in the interrogation room above. However, they will be watching you through surveillance. It's another form of covert surveillance by the police. To determine this, we did not use inducements or threats. There are situations where you are coerced into confessing or accepting punishment. Then, after this interrogation ends, if there are no major issues, I can arrange for your family to meet and chat, even having a meal together at the police station. But the premise must be, you need to cooperate with us. Do not mix in any falsehoods. Don't lie anymore. Do you understand? Su Ming finished speaking according to the rules and regulations. Seeing Huang Yin, although there was no answer, but she gently nodded in response, then sat down beside Zhu Chengsheng, spoke softly. Chenti, currently, Huangyan's mental state is fine. We can begin now." Zhu Chengsheng did not hesitate at all, gazing directly at the somewhat nervous Huangyan across from me, spoke in a rather serious tone. "Let's skip the identity verification process for the locked door. Huangyan, everything I ask later is very important, so you mustn't have any concealments. Don't try to fool your way through. First of all, around midnight last night, you should be with Zhang Wan, right?" "Yes, I am with Zhao Wan." Yuan nodded nervously at first. Then he quickly opened his mouth to respond. Although based on the current clues, this clue and situation can basically be confirmed. But for the subsequent case files and trial, necessary clues confirmation is still needed. Immediately after that, Zhu Chengsheng's subsequent related issues. Then it was thrown away. "Besides you, is there anyone else at the scene?" If there weren't anyone else, despite having no expectations. But Zhu Chengsheng still hoped for something beyond Huangyan. There are others. In the end, the true mastermind, also on site. In that case, the difficulty of solving the case, it will undoubtedly be much easier. Due to a long period without rest, Huangyan appeared somewhat weary. Translation error. He replied hoarsely that yesterday it was just Zion and me. That night at midnight, I followed the agreement with Zhao Wan. Quietly returning to school via the small path, we went to the abandoned classroom building together. Then we sat on the rooftop with a picnic blanket. Take out the various snacks you brought specifically. Let's eat together and keep chatting. Speaking of which, Su Ming suddenly interrupted Huangyan's words. "Ask a crucial question. Eating snacks and chatting together. At that time, Zhang Wan, or rather, do you two feel scared? To know what would happen if you fell from such a tall building? Let's not talk about whether one will die." Translation error. I can only lie in bed. It's obvious. Su Ming wants to pass this question to assess the mental state of Zhang Wan and Huangyan, determine the killer behind the scenes. To what extent can consciousness be controlled? It seems they don't want to remember themselves. The best friend who has already departed. Huangyan remained silent for several seconds, then shook his head. Then he nodded and replied, "Zhao Wan is not afraid. I'm actually a bit scared. I even let Zhao Wan drink Baikal and cry with me. At least it wasn't such a terrible death. But Xian rejected me. She said she is not afraid at all. She is completely fed up with this world. I want to clear this game as soon as possible. Transform into the blue gold freely roaming the ocean. As for, is it possible to become paralyzed? Zhao Wan did not consider it, because she specifically instructed me, if something unexpected happens, let me help her with one last thing. Upon hearing this, Su Ming is already certain. The extent of Zhang Wan's consciousness control. It's much deeper than Huangyan. This may be related to their tragic fate. Have a close relationship since Grandma passed away. It really is just as she said. It seems that not many people care about her anymore. Even if I die, we'll soon be forgotten by people." Zhu Chengsheng brought his palms together, forming a triangle shape. The right index finger lightly taps the back of the left hand. Translation error. So, the wound on Zhang Wan's left wrist. Did you cut it open? It is used to. The knife in the Ferris wheel cabin, right? Huangyan still nodded. Translation error. Tears well up again. Seemingly unwilling to remember, they clutched their hair. Whispered, "Yes, it's me. But I really can't help it. I really can't help it." looking at Zio Wan's wide-open eyes, looking at me with a pained, pleading gaze. "I really can't refuse her. The only request you entrusted to me. I can't do anything for her either. She can only become the dream version of herself faster, the blue whale that can roam the deep sea. I want—" "Has she already fulfilled her dreams?" Became that one. Before the lie could finish speaking, Zonneming immediately interrupted their following words. He said coldly with an expressionless face, "Suicide did not turn her into the so-called blue whale, but instead became a cold body in the funeral home, because the so-called blue whale game you speak of simply it's just a tool used for committing crimes. If lies are still indulged in now, in the subconscious of becoming a blue whale after death, gaining freedom, this is a secret for Angie. There are no benefits at all, because the collection of lies may be due to Zhang Wan, the reason for gaining so-called freedom, and choose to protect the suspects behind the creation of the blue whale game. Even if this situation does not occur, let the lies confront reality. It is clear that Zhang Wan was harmed by someone. Translation error. It is also more beneficial for solving the case. This way, it can draw the lies into the police's camp. But lies linger in the heart. If holding on to the idea of seeking revenge for a friend by finding the true culprit, regardless of the accuracy and initiative in providing clues, that will definitely happen, much stronger than now, several times over, just like those high officials who were reported and subjected to shuanghui. In the interrogation room, there is no hesitation for revenge and sentence reduction. Similarly, report numerous officials with dirty hands. This all takes advantage of the suspect's revenge mentality. In such a situation, clues provided by the suspect. The credibility is undoubtedly close to 100%. So Su Ming must seize this opportunity to bring up the topic. Let the lies reveal that Zhang Wan did not commit suicide, but rather a premeditated murder. Zhu Changsheng sitting beside. It is also evident. So there was no sound to interrupt Su Ming. In his view, no matter from what angle you approach it, the key is to uncover the truth. Moreover, based on recent performances, Su Ming indeed has a terrifying talent for solving cases. At this moment, Su Ming's serious words, the lie fell into a stupor of shock. A full few seconds. Just came to my senses and stared into Su Ming's eyes. It seems I need to find evidence of being deceived. But upon discovering Su Ming's unwavering gaze, immediately he began to shake his head in a fluster, a forced smile that seems eager to please.